Sorry.
Just zoom in on Tyler's face.
He's like,
The Titans are now 8-3 and have officially moved back into first place in the AFC South.
That's right.
After beating the Indianapolis Colts and Indy
45-26.
Yeah.
We were okay. If you watch the last game reaction after, the game reaction after the last Colts game, you'll know that we were upset.
Oh, we weren't just upset. We were pissed off.
It was a very different vibe to start the video all the way through the video, and things have changed. A lot of Colts fans watching that last video. I don't really think they'll be coming back.
Yeah, y'all come on back. Bring all that smoke now.
Where are you at?
Honestly, the score doesn't even. Honestly, the game wasn't that close.
Right.
It was not that close. There was never a question after halfway through the first quarter that it was even going to be a game.
I definitely say halfway through the second quarter.
Titans just absolutely 100% outplayed the Colts.
They dominated them.
And
look, we were both right because we said that the Titans would split the games with Indianapolis this year. Of course, we thought that we would win the home game and they would win their home game. But either way, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I mean,
at this point in the season, 8-3, moving forward and being one game ahead, or I guess
we'd be
2 games.
Probably 1.5, something like that.
But being ahead, moving forward is huge. For the Titans to win the AFC South. So, for y'all, what was the biggest thing about this game?
I thought that the defense of the Colts was just not up to par like it has been.
Well, you played them in fantasy football.
Yes, so I don't have any points for my defense.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah, which is good for the Titans, but I think that was their biggest...
they just couldn't stop the Titans.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal was, but...
Well, they were missing some key players, which the Titans have a lot of guys out with injuries too. But, I mean, DeForest Buckner being out, that was a big thing because I seen a stat when we were watching the game that whenever he plays, as far as opposing offenses running the ball, they're averaging like 3.7, 3.8 yards per carry. When he's out, they're allowing like 5-point-something yards per carry.
Well, I was going to say, the defense, Titans, actually, I saw improvement. I saw more balls being knocked down. I saw more aggression. I saw more sacks. I saw defense really, push it all the way up to 10 today.
2 sacks for a total loss of 15 yards, and
one of the sacks being on Rivers and one on
Brissett.
Right.
What did I call him? The great value Deshaun Watson of the AFC South. I get he can run better than Rivers, but I just personally he's not that good.
It's kind of mean.
Well, he brings a different dynamic to their offense.
Yeah, he does. I actually kind of like their offense when he does come in on the goal line because it's hard to stop him. If they're just a yard away, 2 yards away.
Right, because you're not going to see Philip Rivers do that.
Yeah, right. And he's a big guy. And, I mentioned it when I think they stopped him just short of the goal line. It's hard to stop him if there's only, a yard or 2 between you and the goal line.
Right.
He's kind of, this is really not a comparison, but it's kind of like the same situation with Derrick Henry. But obviously with Derrick Henry, he has a lot more power and he's a lot bigger, stronger, faster. So... And as a runner, Jacoby Brissett is the great value Derrick Henry heavy.
Since they were hitting on the defenses, these defenses were actually not by points allowed, but as far as if you look at third down, the Colts defense held the Titans to 5 for 12 on third down, and the Titans held the Colts to 5 for 13. So yet another aspect of the game that we won. We held them to a worse percentage on third down, and even on fourth down. The Colts were 1 for 2, and the Titans were 1 for 1. So, we beat them in all aspects of the game today.
Well, one major thing was the time of possession. Titans with 35 minutes, and the Colts with only 24.
Wow.
I told you.
That'll do it.
I told you in our game preview on the podcast, Derrick Henry, 25 to 30 carries, and the Titans have to win the time of possession. He had 27 carries, and the Titans won the time of possession, and they won the damn game again.
Put him in, Mike Vrabel. Put him in.
There you go. You know what else you told me on the podcast, and we won't talk about mine, but you completely
Oh,
whiffed.
no.
You completely whiffed on your bold prediction. A.J. Brown, 150 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. Maybe if you count the onside kick return,
All right, look,
you could be
here's-
close.
Here's what I'm going to say. I didn't specify that he was going to catch a pass for Ryan Tannehill on all those yards. I said he was going to have receiving yards. Technically, he received the kickoff. So he took it.
Do you guys care to weigh in on this?
Well, look, here's what.
yours.
Y'all
was
are doing
just
great.
All
Yeah.
the way like in right field. Like it was so.
Mine, when you look at yours compared to mine is not that bad, Mister. These teams are not going to combine for 35 points or more.
Mister.
The Titans had 35 points in the first half
Hey,
by themselves,
so, you win some, you lose some.
and you
this-
definitely lost
This
some.
is one that I just happened to lose, but the Titans won, and that's all I'm worried
Yeah,
about.
that's all that really matters.
So,
Here's the,
and
I
I
don't-
keep the 1-0 lead
Hey,
for
look,
bold predictions.
If the Titans keep on winning, I don't care if you keep that 1-0 lead in
That's
the
right.
bold predictions.
That's right.
I just want the Titans to win.
That's right. Now,
But since you wanted to bring my bold prediction up for A.J. Brown, he had a pretty damn good game.
yeah,
I mean,
4 for 98 and a touchdown.
yeah, and the touchdown that he had, just a little short route, and he outran the defense, and I mean, the rest is history.
Turned his wheels on.
So, what did y'all think about Derrick Henry from this game? 27 carries, 178 yards, 3 touchdowns.
I think they finally put him in enough times. I still hated when they would take him out for a third down, hand it off to McNichols or throw it, and then put him back in 4th down, or they would take him out on 2nd down and put him in 3rd down. It's like every time you take him out and then put him back in, everybody knows you're about to run him. So why would you set yourself up to be predictable? That's the only thing. Other than that, Derrick Henry himself did an amazing job pushing through today and getting that yardage.
Yeah, I think he did really good. And the fake with Ryan Tannehill getting his
yeah.
touchdown, nobody expected that, and it was just a really good play. So all around,
So, it
did good.
could have been 4 touchdowns for Derrick Henry, actually.
Yeah.
Well, I
Because
don't know.
I think had he handed it off, there might have been a chance for Derrick Henry to get in there.
I don't know. I think that the Colts defense pretty much sold out on Derrick Henry that play.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
they-
it was the right decision.
right, and they were not going to let him score, so Tannehill keeping that ball was definitely the right call. But yeah, Derrick Henry had a day now, and
Yeah.
now, you know, we talked on the last game how Derrick Henry had over 100 yards, and he was only the second rusher to have 100 yards on him in so many games. And I'd be damned if he didn't turn around and do it again.
Yeah.
And so now, in the last, 40-something games, the Colts have only allowed 3 times for a rusher to go over 100 yards on them. And Derrick Henry owns all 3 of those times.
All of
Crown him.
Just
Right.
put crowning on him. And
King.
and I believe in our preview, you said that Lucas Oil Stadium may be the house that Peyton Manning built,
But
that Derrick
Derrick
Henry
Henry-
was going to tear it down.
And he did. He tore it down.
So I will give you your props on that.
There we go.
But I'm going to take my props on a question we had from a friend of the show, Luke Jerkins. He asked, Phillip Rivers averages 280 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Titans. If we thought that they could still win the game if he hit those stats. You said no.
Because I thought it was going to be a low scoring game.
I said yes and said that the Titans were going to win this game no matter what. And I'm going to take the lead there because I was right.
Okay. So, one more thing about the offense before we move back to the defense. The Titans scored 45 points on the Colts. And I might be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure that's the most that has ever been scored
That's what they said.
against the Indianapolis Colts.
Right. And the Titans and Colts rivalry, this is the
Okay.
most points the Titans have ever scored
Right.
against them.
I think I worded
And-
that a little weird.
Right. And the Titans also, with their 35 points in the first half, that was the most points that have been scored on the Colts this season, even in an entire game. They haven't allowed 35 points. And the Titans done that in the first half. And had they not let up a little bit in the second half, there's no telling how much they would have scored on them.
So for y'all, who was a player that's maybe not getting enough recognition from this game? Maybe they're flying a little under the radar.
You can go, babe.
I think he asked y'all to.
Oh, I don't know. Corey Davis.
Corey Davis, 3 for 70, 23.3 yards per catch.
Yeah.
And had a good reception right there before half.
Yep.
That put them
The
in
37
position.
yarder.
Right, that
Yep.
put them in position for the Tannehill touchdown.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I did like his performance, but Simmons just cracked me up on the field. He, as always, Simmons is coming in hot.
That's what you looked like on Thanksgiving.
It really was. But hey, he got back there to Rivers and was eating today.
He did.
So, now moving to the Titans defense.
Gonna act like you didn't destroy like 5 plates on Thanksgiving Day.
Hey, it's Thanksgiving. You know? It's like when you talk about going on a diet and it's right before the holiday season. I know we've done it. And then you're like, Thanksgiving's coming up.
Yeah, this year
Yeah.
we done that.
Actually,
Like
one thing
today.
we haven't hit on yet
Yeah.
is the key performer. Who is everybody's key performer? Obviously, I'm going with Derrick Henry.
Ryan Tannehill for me.
I was
Ryan
gonna say
Tannehill.
that too because Tannehill actually I felt like he was looking more on the field versus this is the play we're
Aggressive.
doing. I'm sold to it. He definitely was looking more around, I noticed, and he was moving. He was moving way more in the pocket than he normally does. So yes, I have to agree. Tannehill.
I like that.
Freaking
Yeah.
I like that.
So we have Ryan Tannehill for these two, Derrick Henry for you. Derrick Henry will be, I feel like that's the obvious choice.
Yeah, I mean, he's
But-
an easy pick.
I'm going to switch it up and say A.J. Brown because if you think back to the first time these two teams played, we went down, scored the opening drive touchdown against them, and then we stopped their offense. A.J. Brown had a chance to catch a pass, put us up 14-0.
With the aggressive Ryan Tannehill.
Right. It didn't happen.
Hand in hand.
He dropped the pass. Now this time, a little bit different. They go down, score. Colts go down, score. But A.J. Brown has a chance for the second touchdown for the Titans in this game, and he makes it happen this time. So I'm going to go with A.J. Brown. He kind of had that redemption game that I talked about.
I like that. Wasn't quite what you wanted from the bowl prediction.
It wasn't, but
Still had a great game.
he had what the return that he had was 42 yards.
Yeah.
So, I mean, really, if you add up his total yards, I was like, 10 yards off of the 150 and 2 touchdowns?
Yep. And so, now we'll move to the defense. For you two, what about this Breon Borders guy? Somebody,
Yeah, he
he's
was
not
out
like
there today.
he's not a name that you would really recognize him
Yeah.
being out there. I mean, he came out off the practice squad. He's been playing good in the past few weeks, but today he got his interception. Probably should have had to.
Yeah.
Definitely should have had to.
Should have had a pick six. All honesty.
Yeah.
The ball hit him right in between the numbers, and I think he just got excited. He was like, "It is not supposed to be this easy. I see the end zone. I'm fixing to score an NFL touchdown."
Mm-hmm.
So Borders is coming on pretty strong. Do y'all think that he can keep this up, or it's just kind of a flash in the pan?
I think overall defense was just on top of it with their coverage. I think everybody just did really good. So
I agree.
if they all keep doing what they're doing, except Kevin Byard, then that's good.
Right. I have to agree that when your team is in sync, that it really can make one person shine a bit more.
Mm-hmm. Like Will Compton, he did pretty good too.
The boy,
Yeah.
Will Compton is solid.
I mean, he may not be the fastest guy out there, may not always be the best in coverage, but I think he does enough film study that when he's out there, he can tell guys where they need to be to try and make a play, at least.
The good thing about Will Compton is that you always know what you're getting with Will Compton.
He's solid.
He's solid. He's just a solid guy.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he's going to study the film and tell you where you need to be.
Yeah.
And he's going to know where he needs to be. Byard did struggle today. I mean,
He's been struggling all season.
right,
I mean,
and just letting some plays happen that you're like, man, the Byard of old would never let this happen.
And obviously you hope that he turns it around, but he's making way too much money to be playing. I mean, he's playing
does
average.
good.
He's playing average.
He
Right.
does good sometimes, and then he does bad, but the bad outweighs the really good.
Yeah.
So
Well, and one of my biggest problems with him has been when it comes to tackling, it's not like he's trying to drive guys back. He's running up, wrapping them up, and he's like, okay, I'm just going to fall down with
Let's
you.
go to the end zone.
He always falls 4. forward.
Yeah.
And
Or back, but
Forward for the offense.
Yes,
Yeah.
forward for the offense is what I meant.
but hitting on Borders, I mean, he's been playing really good.
Solid.
I mean, because I hate to even mention his name because I feel like when you mention it, it just pushes his return back another week. But Adoree Jackson, we've been talking about how, it's going to be big for this team when he comes back. But Borders has been playing really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And, I mean, today, yes, he did give up a touchdown, had a pass interference called on him. But for the majority of this game, he played really well.
Mm-hmm.
And Tart, he was getting some pressure today, making some things happen. Just our
Definitely makes some big plays in the run game.
and
Malcolm Butler did a little bit.
Yep.
he did. And
I still think that should have been an interception.
well, I agree with you, but I mean the rules are the rules, and
Right.
if both players have it, they're going to give the offense the benefit of the doubt.
The rules suck.
But I mean, really, if you think about it, our defense, when it really mattered, held the Colts to like 14 points. I mean, it wasn't until later in the game the Colts got they were held to 14 points through 3 quarters, and then by the time the fourth quarter come around, yes, they did score 12 more points, but I mean that's kind of garbage time
Yep.
stuff with
And that's why I
with the
mentioned-
lead that the Titans had.
That's why I mentioned. I mean, this game wasn't really as close as the score reflects. I mean,
the
it was
time
a blowout.
the Titans went up to Indy and dominated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
I mean, they, in all aspects of the game. So glad to see Brett Kern back, putting
Yeah.
people,
Yes.
putting teams inside their own 10-yard line to start drives and just flipping the field for us.
Yeah, that was a major thing for them to have this week.
In the past, or in the past throughout the season, it's like I wouldn't say for this game, but it's like, can we just like punt on second down? We have such a good punter. Let's just go ahead and punt it. I mean, we know we're not going to get anything out of these other 2 downs. Just go ahead.
I mean, any other thoughts really on this game?
Honestly,
We,
no.
we
I
didn't
mean,
see Jonu involved
No,
this
not
game,
really.
which was
Skowski did everything.
except for
Oh,
the one
yeah.
that didn't count.
But I will say
which
the
is
whistle
fine.
blew before his foot ever touched the ball, so it could have like messed him up.
Yeah.
well, I seen a lot of people talking about that, and they were like, they probably took that penalty on purpose because you get him back closer to 50 yards, and he's
Yeah.
pretty much automatic, and that made it a 49-yarder. So, yeah, let him rip on that.
So some guys defensively that weren't maybe great, but were solid, and I feel like need to be mentioned. Kenny Vaccaro, he had 9 total tackles. David Long Jr. came in and played middle linebacker some. He had some really good plays. Had a huge hit. So him, Roberson, Harold Landry had a sack.
Yeah.
And then of course Tierre Tart, like we
Yeah.
mentioned earlier.
And I will say, our defense, and I don't know if maybe it was just the officials in this game both ways, because we've seen several defensive holding calls.
Yep.
And it wasn't just on the Titans, wasn't just on the Colts. It was pretty even for both teams, but there were a lot of defensive holding calls this game. And, King, he had a couple calls against him. I think one, I know of one was a pass interference, and it would have, had that not been called, would have stopped the Colts on a 3rd down, but it gave them an automatic 1st down. But, yeah, overall, I mean, the defense played really good today, and
Yeah.
we didn't let the Colts get in position to where they could go for it on 4th down 5 times
Yep.
this game. I mean, we kept them to 4th and medium or 4th and long,
Yeah.
where they were like, all right, we can't risk this because if we don't get it, they're going to have really good field position.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, other than that, what else do you guys have?
I was just gonna say I'm glad the Titans played that they cared today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the
Agreed.
play call of Derrick Henry 1st down, Derrick Henry 2nd down, set the bench, McNichols run it for the 3rd. Like, that's so stupid, but
I
need a
didn't-
different system there, I feel like. I don't see how that helps.
I
Because
didn't like how-
been like what's been holding them up with that play.
They got it right before halftime with a little bit of time left on the clock, and they had already
Yeah.
scored once, and they were like, yeah, let's just run
Oh,
it 3
yeah.
times.
Those last 4 plays that they had before the end of the second quarter, is that what it was? We're just looking at it like, what are they even doing? Are they just like screwing around? Like, what the crap?
At first it was like, well, maybe are they trying to just run the clock down and go to halftime?
Yeah, that's what we're trying to figure out.
They have time to go score. I mean,
yeah, exactly. We were close enough.
It was really weird.
Yeah,
because that ended up
spot.
being where they went for it on 4th down.
I believe so.
Wasn't?
Yeah,
and that was when Corey Davis got his reception, if I'm remembering correctly.
So I mean, it ended up working out.
Right, they ended up scoring, but it looked like they were going to punt at first, and like you said, they ran it 3 times in a row, and they're getting up to the ball quick to snap it quick because they don't want to use their timeout that they have left.
Right.
And it's like, okay, well, what are you? Or I think they had 2 left at the time. And it's like, what are you doing? Why are you running it like that?
Like you have time to try to score.
Right.
Yeah.
And but
they still won though. So
they did.
I mean, overall, good game.
But I mean, we kind of knew going into this game when we seen that Buckner was out, and they had a line. What's the linebacker's name that they had out? It starts with an O. Really weird name. Either way, we knew when Buckner was out that this meant they had to keep Derrick Henry involved in this game, no matter what, because he can wear down the defense. And starting out the game, I mean, he opened the game with like a 7-yard run, and he was just up until the second half. The Colts had no answer for him.
Yep.
He had 140 yards in the first half, and then had 36, or roughly 36, in the second half. So, we were talking, I was like, he may put up 200 against the Colts, and, that could be huge, but that's what happens when, I thought whenever Buckner was going to be out, okay, they're going to stack the box every down, like, there's no way they can go without it, and they didn't do that. And when your main run stopper is out and you don't stack the box, Derrick Henry is just going to have a day on you.
Yep.
And, I mean, he averaged 6.6 yards per carry. That may be his highest on the season so far.
It's kind of close.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
except for maybe the game where he had 200 yards.
Right. But I mean, either way, he's just leading the charge today to take back over the AFC South.
And now the Colts have to go to Houston, who's picking up some momentum.
They are. And it just puts us in really good position to win the South for, what is it, the second time since it's come about or been made a division?
Yeah, I believe so.
So I like being back in the driver's seat. And it moves us up from like the 5th or 6th seed in the playoff seeding to now like the 3rd seed.
A lot of seasons left to be played though.
Well, there is.
They gotta keeping on.
Depending on how the pandemic keeps playing out here.
Yeah.
But,
next game will be in the stadium.
Yeah, we'll be in the stadium.
We'll be on the couch.
Well, look, we've tried to give y'all tickets to this game.
Yeah, but they're kind of high up, like the tickets we're trying to give them. And honestly, it makes sense. They were like, well, we probably wouldn't enjoy it as much than seeing it on the big screen. So that kind of makes sense. And plus, it's going to be cold.
Yeah.
But no, I'm cold in here. I got 2 layers on. So.
Either way, we will be in the stands for that game.
You'll probably hear us.
If we can't if we can't get rid of the tickets that we have, we may see if we can talk them into going as well. But Browns, y'all just come on down to Nashville. We'll give our preview for that game a little bit later this week. But y'all just come on down to Nashville and take that ass whooping like y'all did last year in week 1. And all's going to be good in Tennessee.
Well,
that's right.
There you go. I think that's all that needs to be said about that.
Yeah.
Stick a fork in it, it's done.
Yep.
Well, if we don't have anything else to hit on in this game, Tanner, tell them where they can find us on social media.
Find us on social media on Twitter. It's Titans_time. On Instagram, Titans. On Instagram, it's Titans Time Podcast. Let's see, what else is there? Facebook. It's Titans Time. Make sure that you go like the page, share the page. All those different things you can do on Facebook. You used to be able to poke, whatever you can do now.
Wave.
Wave, whatever it is. Tyler's going to tell you all the stuff to do on YouTube here in a minute, but for the podcast, go any podcast platform. Those will be popping up on the screen. Make sure it's Titans Time. Search it up, subscribe.
Not it's Titans Time, just Titans Time.
What you're searching is Titans Time. So, you know, click, find the subscribe button, hit that, all that stuff. Make sure you're tuning in every week for the game previews. During the off season, we'll have all kinds of different episodes, things like that. And maybe for, you know, podcast, YouTube, whatever, it's looking like the Titans are going to be making the playoffs. Maybe we'll be doing some special things if they get in there.
He mentioned the podcast on all the podcast apps. He said subscribe to it. I'm going to tell you to rate it 5 stars as well. Leave us some comments, some questions. We make sure to include the comments and the questions on the next podcast after we see them. He mentioned the YouTube. You're watching on it right now. Go down and make sure you subscribe, turn on the post notifications, share the video, like the video, and leave us some comments. Colts fans, we want that same energy on that video that you had on the last one. Don't be afraid just because y'all lost. Like, hey, we split it. Come talk to us. We like that interaction. We love when people come and talk shit to us. We love when people are on our side, talk about how good or bad the Titans played. We just want that interaction, and we really appreciate it, and it helps us out a lot.
If they're Colts fans, they may have left the video a long time ago.
Probably did. They probably left about the time that we said Titans 45, Colts 26.
This has been Titans Time, and as always,
Tighten up!
I'm so glad we won. Is it on yet?
Yeah.
Welcome to the big show where the legends go. Everybody knows it's our house. Fighting for Tennessee, making history.
Did I say you could have my water? Didn't think so. It is.
Oh, and like
Lurch? Is that a word?
lurch towards the camera.
I never know what to do when it's coming up. I'm like, it's red.
A smile don't count.
What did he do?
Fuck the Colts.
Or what was the 45?
No, y'all don't look excited that we freaking won. Okay. Is that it? We're doing that? Alright.
Sure.
Cool.